Grit and Valor 1949 is a roguelite that might resemble Into the Breach with a combination of mech-based combat, pilot abilities, and its tactical diorama battlefields, but Grit and Valor 1949 goes in a much different direction. Although visually similar, Grit and Valor 1949 feels closer to real-time strategy games minus the building and gathering phases, combined with a tower defense and infused with a roguelite progression system. Unfortunately, the in-game upgrades for your mechs were always underwhelming, and the game really lacks that hook. The mission types as well as the locations can feel a little repetitive in each region. Nevertheless, the fusion of genres and the fast-paced gameplay lead to a satisfying roguelike loop. Grit and Valor 1949 takes place in an alternate history dieselpunk World War II universe. War rages on, and the Allies are on the brink of defeat. However, slivers of hope remain as you have become the leader of the remaining survivors who have formed the resistance and represent the last chance for the Allies. The mission begins in the British Isles as you need to deliver an EMP through Scandinavia, Western Europe, and then into the heart of New Germany to disable their mech forces. The command vehicle will transport the EMP, but you will also have 3 mechs at your disposal that should help carve a way through enemy territory and help execute the mission. At the end of each run, when your last mech has fallen, or after each successful region, you will return to the resistance base where you will be able to research new abilities and passives at the command center through achievements that you will earn in battle. Over at the Mech Guard is where you will be able to purchase new gear for your mechs and equip it to one of the 5 slots on your Iron Hulks. You will also have the ability to unlock new mechs here with enough collected blueprints in battle. Finally, over at the barracks is where you will be able to improve your pilot skills, such as the cooldowns and the effectiveness of their abilities. After a few successful ventures, you will have been able to unlock some new mechs and new pilots. Mechs come in 3 classes: ballistics, fire, and explosives, which is enough variety on its own, but the game has a unique rock, paper, scissors damage dynamic. Pilots also have unique abilities, and trying to pair the proper skills to the proper mechs is crucial, and this is all done before you even hit the battlefield. Once the lead starts flying, you will need to think quickly on your feet as Grit and Valor employs a wave-based system reminiscent of tower defense games. The waves come in very quickly, and you will need to determine which mech needs to be on the front lines, which mech needs to be on high ground, which mechs need to be behind cover, and you will have split seconds to decide all of this and execute properly. During the split seconds between waves, you will need to think about deploying countermeasures such as laying down landmines or repairing your mechs if you have enough ability charges. This is all happening in real time, combined with you needing to reposition, quickly decipher which direction the next wave is coming from, which type of enemies are coming, and trying to capture bonus objectives which are essential to leveling. What's great about the roguelite progression is that pilots don't die and upgrades to your mech don't reset upon failure. With such a strong emphasis on the pilots of the mechs, just like Into the Breach, it did seem a little low on quantity to only have 6 pilots. When you combine the abilities of the 6 pilots with the abilities of the 9 mechs, there are a lot of different combinations, but having a few more pilots and giving them a bit more personality would have been a nice touch. There is also too much familiarity and repetition within each region. Each map is missing something visually distinct and memorable. Objectives can feel similar, such as destroying rockets or capturing radio towers, and due to this, maps can feel repetitious. The in-game airdrops that serve as your traditional roguelite leveling always felt a little underwhelming. There was never a run that felt like you were getting all of the right rolls and could create a broken mech. Most of the beneficial upgrades come between runs back at the base, which did feel meaningful, but also lacked an easy way to remove parts from your installed mechs to put them on your new ones. One of the biggest issues with gameplay is that your mechs will walk blindly through the line of fire and take massive damage without returning fire on the enemy forces because their first priority is moving to the location that you marked for them. I'm an easy mark for a good alternate history game, and I thoroughly enjoy a good roguelite. Grit and Valor 1949 perfectly finds itself in the middle of this Venn diagram, and people who love those two things will end up loving this. But what I didn't expect was for it to reignite my nostalgia for classic RTS, as it feels like a distilled version minus the hours spent base building and collecting resources. Instead, you are constantly in the middle of a very satisfying wave-based gameplay loop that emphasizes strong strategy and quick thinking. Unfortunately, it's missing the addictive hook and run variation that the best roguelites offer. While there might be some Into the Breach inspiration with mechs, pilots, and small battlefields, Grit and Valor 1949 is an extremely unique roguelite that easily carves out its own identity. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and find a lot more like it. Video games is a positivity-first gaming outlet. We believe that gaming should be a force for good. We focus on making uplifting content with constructive discussions and celebrating what makes games great. That's all for today, and until next time, be good to your fellow gamer, but more importantly, be better to your fellow human.